Hello YouTube and welcome to XP10. Here I am in my Carenado 210T Centurion, and I'm going to do a flight from Cologne, Germany to Ostend, Belgium, wherever that is, delivering 5 people there. So I'm playing in real time with real weather, so I was pulling it off the internet, the actual time, and I can't see what the time is without some lights. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull some lights on, like so. Yeah, so you can see we've got the interior lights going. The time is 10 to 4 in the morning, so it is not a very nice time to be out and about, but never mind. I am in New Zealand, so it is a very reasonable time here. So I'm going to do a quick direct to in Flight Simulator Economy. Probably my biggest annoyance with the X-Plane is their user interface for manipulating controls, especially dials. It's so annoying. I've got to freeze my track IR. It's just something I've accepted and I have to live with, I guess, because I don't think they're ever going to change the way that they do that. A lot of other programs use the mouse wheel, but of course this is multi-platform, so oh my god, not everyone has a mouse wheel. You know, Mac users, Linux users, they might be using all sorts of different devices. So there we go, I'll enter that in, and that ties in with my flight plan. We'll be using GPS. I'll get my heading bug onto runway, my track to the track the GPS is displaying. Oh yeah, sit down, does that quickly. So 279. We are going 279, which means we can do an even number for the altitude, so I'll go up to 6,000. Leave that pretty much alone. Flaps down 1, rich, high RPM, taxi lights on. Let's check the temperature. It's gonna be cold, so I'll probably have to turn on the pitot heat, etc. once we get up. And with that, I'll put on the parking brake and get ourselves into the air. Now I'll just pause it before I forget, because before you leave the airport area, you can log into Flight Simulator Economy and start the flight. And this should hopefully not take too long, but I think the Flight Simulator Economy site is a little bit slow, so it just hangs whilst it thinks and connects, and I don't think my internet's having any issues, so I think it's the FSE website. And this can take a minute sometimes. There we go. So I'm transporting a volleyball player, a backpacker, a ferry, millwright, I don't even know what that is, and a radio personality. Okay, interesting. So I can kill that, unpause, get ourselves on track. Fairly soon I should be able to rotate. Just giving it a bit of rudder input. And I'll just slowly start to rotate at about 17 knots. And positive rate of climb. So get the gear up. You can see very nice lighting. And X-Plane 10. And more to come, because those flaps up. The patches that are coming out, they're changing the brightness of the lighting, and I've seen what some people have tweaked, and it just makes cities look brilliant at night. So that looks really exciting. I'm hoping patch what is it? X-Plane 10.30. Sure, I don't know how many months away that will be, but it's going to have some pretty cool things in there. Alright, so I'll get the RPM back into the green zone, get a tiny bit of mixture off, You can see we've got a bit of weather out there. Let's get ourselves around to the desired heading. Vertical speed, we'll lock that in at, say, to 200 for now. Alright, and looks like we're leaving the airport zone now, so I'm going to start my turn. I'll do this around to the right. I'll get that vertical speed to 400. Alright, we're on our way. So the range I'm going 164 miles, heading 280, so it's not a huge trip. Should have enough fuel to get there. If not, we'll find out. The worst comes to the worst, and Flight Simulator Economy, if you crash like I did just the other day, I'm not sure if you've seen my recent video, but I was at 4,000 feet and something flew straight into my engine, and I kind of saw it. I assume it was a bird or I killed Superman, one of the two. But just flying along, alarm bell started ringing, and I spent probably half the time actually trying to figure out how the hell do you turn off like a kind of master caution, but I don't think you can. And I started descending to keep speed up, and I moved over to a road. It was a bit weird. My manifold pressure was really high. The fuel flow was almost at zero, so it was like the engine was clogged, and it would kind of run, but only if I really opened the throttle to almost full throttle. And yeah, so I went over to a road, and I think I bled my speed off too quickly. I ended up not stalling completely, but kind of landing a little bit sooner than I thought I would, and wasn't perfectly lined up, so I skidded out and went off the side of the highway. And if you have a look at the detail in this game, see all that traffic. I kind of merged very nicely with the traffic, which was quite impressive, for about 3 seconds, and then I went sailing off the side of the highway. So yeah, not so good, and I wouldn't mind actually having another go at it. Not that I could do a replay or anything, but it would have been quite nice to actually land properly in an emergency, and live to tell the tale. So yeah, but it wasn't to be, so never mind. Okay, I'm just kind of merging with my flight plan here, so I will on my 6,000 feet altitude, and I will get us into nav mode. This is the Carenado model of this plane. It's very new, 64-bit. I have the graphics, the number of objects set to extreme, so I'm pretty happy with the look of it, the complexity. The other thing I like about this compared to other sims like FSE is that I get this detail, this level of detail and complexity all over the world. I don't, it's not the same as a handmade custom scenery mod where it's perfect and you can get the Sydney Opera House and everything like that, but then again I've not paid for it, so it's not what I'm expecting. But I can fly in FSE economy. I can take jobs anywhere in the world, and I know that I don't have to worry about getting 2006 default textures because I went to Sweden or something like that, which I don't have. I do have New Zealand in FSX, and I was pretty much just flying in New Zealand because if I went anywhere else it just looked awful. And I've flown this thing, I think I bought it in Spain, I flew it to Mallorca, I flew it through France, flew it to the UK, then I flew it to Germany and Belgium and back and forth as the jobs take me. So, and I just, I could fly it all the way through Asia. I could bring it home to where I am in New Zealand or Australia or whatever I want. But I'm pretty happy with these graphics, even if it's not default. Sorry, it is default. There's a few things that I need to fix. Obviously, the skyscrapers don't light up with the nighttime textures, so you can see all the lights are off because it's using like the daytime textures. but it's in development, and so it's constantly being patched and worked on, which is just awesome. Busy highways, yeah. Unfortunately, I killed Superman, but that's what you get. So my altitude going through 3,000 to 2,900. It's going to be 59 minutes. So what I might do, instead of talking for 59 minutes, is accelerate time a wee bit and get to where I'm going. Wow, that is a nice city. The just before I cut it, the auto-gene scenery is being worked on as well, so that I think there's kind of different types of buildings going on here than there used to be. Also, they need to change the ground textures so they're not so green in cities. You can see how everything just looks like a bunch of buildings and roads through fields, and cities don't really look like that. So they need to have, you know, a lot more concrete in cities, and I think that's something that they're working on as well. They're also working on terminals and buildings to be automatically populated through the airports, because a lot of people complained when XP10 first came out and there was only like one airport actually populated with buildings, and of course you could put them in yourself or download mods that add them in, and that's something that they're going to kind of integrate with the game, the application. Haven't done automatically, so I'm just spending all my time looking out the windows, aren't I? I'll be a terrible pilot. Something will be on fire and I wouldn't realise until we're going down in flames. So the cruising speed of this aircraft's 160. I am climbing though, and I might looks like I can handle it with my speed, so I might just increase my climb rate, because I'm kind of getting up there a little bit too slowly. Go 700 feet per minute. There we go. So it's gone straight up to 700. It's almost too easy to fly with an autopilot. Hands off all the time, but makes it possible to accelerate time and just get to where you're going for your job without having to keep your hands on and in real time the whole way. You can see the sun is just coming up. That is weird. It is 4 AM exactly. The sun's just come up. But you get to see the sunrise, and you can see the lighting effects in X-Plane are pretty good. Cool. We'll just have a look outside the aircraft. I've slowed down with my increased ascent rate, going through 4,700. If I just increase, no, I won't increase anything. Because I've slowed down a wee bit, my ETA has actually gone up. Now the way I lean the engine, I don't even know if this is right, but this is my exhaust gas temperature here, EGT. Oh wait, what's this? There's a star there. Maybe there's a magic star. Do you think that's a magic star? So if I reach, the exhaust gas temperature goes way down, and that's because we're introducing too much fuel at this altitude and it's not burning efficiently, so it doesn't burn as hot. Now if I wiggle this around, you'll see the exhaust gas goes up to like a peak temperature up there. if I lean it off too much, there's not enough fuel, and so the exhaust gas goes down. So I figure I just kind of keep it around that star. Maybe that's kind of the peak operating temperature for the exhaust gas. I don't, yeah, someone can tell me if that's wrong, because I've no idea. And I'm getting up there, I'm probably not high enough to do it yet, but I'm going to turn off my taxi lights, which I think your landing lights and stuff like that, I think you leave them on at low altitude, even though you're not landing or taking off or taxiing, but I'm going to turn them off. Alright, so I'm going to leave it for a bit, and as I come up to altitude, I think I'm there now, my speed should come up. My cruising speed's 160, we're at 140, but my fuel flow should basically be around about, what's this, pounds per hour times 10. So I think I'm just going to throttle back until I am doing 900 pounds per hour, and that is my cruising, well, the consumption rate at cruise. So I should be able to achieve my cruising speed, which is about 160. So indicated is beneath 150, and actual ground speed is 153. I don't know what the wind is doing though. You can see it's still ticking up. So my cruising speed's 160 knots. And so to achieve cruise, I just kind of set this to number 9, which isn't shown here, but it's between that 8 and 10 obviously. And then I can leave it. Just give the aircraft a double check. Are we coordinated? Not quite coordinated, probably because of crosswind, so I might just put in a bit of rudder trim. That looks a bit more coordinated. And alright, I'll leave it there for 52 minutes or less until we get to our destination, which is in Belgium. Alright, so we are about 20 miles away. Distance, yep, exactly 20 miles away. Descended to 4,700 feet because there was a nasty rain cloud a wee bit back there. I just wanted to get under it basically. I think I can almost make out, what's that sparkle there? Not sure. The runway heading is pretty much, what's the runway heading? 259, and that is basically our heading right now, so I can set this to 259 is there, and I can just bring, because I'm in heading mode now, I can bring the aircraft in, and I think in the very distance I am seeing the runway, so I've offset a few degrees off to the right to get myself on track. Quite far out, so this is going to be a very easy run-in. A little bit low according to the ILS, and I've dialed in the ILS frequency here, 109.5, put myself in localizer mode, so that is all locked in and good to go. 4,700 feet and 16 miles. The runway is at sea level basically, within a few feet, so don't need to worry about that. And the good thing about flying this part of Europe, apart from it being, you know, a nice part of the world, it's dead flat, so I don't have to worry about bad weather or night flying and yeah, crashing into mountains like I did when I was flying through Switzerland and places like that. I think it was where I couldn't really fly very well at all if there was bad weather. So if anyone has any advice on where to get terrain detail in this, like actual topographical elevations, please let me know, because I'd really like to, particularly in the X-plane, figure out through a flight plan what my terrains need to be at certain points, particularly when obviously I am trying to figure out an approach. So if there's a resource out there that kind of makes that easy, I would love it. Okay, so we've got to make our descent now. Let's go down to 1500 feet, which will be our approach. Get it down like that, that altitude. We'll just throttle back so we don't go too far over our cruising speed. And bring this in. You can see there's just tons of detail down there. The cities, etc. So another nasty cloud, but it's not very big, so we can just ignore that. Coming in on approach, so I'll turn on my landing lights. You can turn off the top heat, I think. See, it is below zero here, so maybe not. I'll just leave that stuff on. Okay, I'm off to the left, so I'm going to just correct a little bit and get my RPM up, which will help with low speed acceleration and probably also decelerate us a little bit, kind of like a high gear in a car. So I'm still really high, 3,700 feet and 10 miles. And 5 miles I want to be at 1,500 feet, so I'm only 3 minutes away. So I will get this down like so. Go 1,500 feet per minute. And I'll disengage the autopilot pretty soon, as it is. Problem with these aircraft is I don't have air brakes, and it's kind of what I'm used to with other simulators, so sometimes I tend to come in a little bit fast, unfortunately. Which I think I will this time as well. I could circle around, but yeah. Okay, I'll just extend off to the right a little bit. 155 ground speed. Alright, coming up on the ILS. My glide slope indicator's a bit happier with me. That's good. We're now within a tolerable level of the ILS glide slope. So I'll just trim the aircraft in for landing. So we're rolling right. Sure what the wind is doing because I'm not using air traffic control or any weather service or anything, but it's just a small plane, so we'll just figure it out as we go along. Alright, let's get 10 degrees flaps, landing gear goes down, we're high, so just keep that throttle back and adjust. Seems like we're being pushed to the left, so I might crab a little bit and get a second degree of flaps. Just kind of sort of rudder left and stick off to the right. That looks a bit more like it. So we're cruising in at about 90 knots now. See traffic on the highway down there, and all this good stuff is very distracting during landing. I usually go, oh man, look at that, then sail over the runway and just about miss it. I'll sail off to the side. Okay, so we're still at fraction high. Gonna get a third degree of flaps, which will allow us to slow down nice and slow. Get full richness, like so, and full RPM. Oh, we're a bit low now. That's good. A little bit of turbulence. about full rudder deflection, just trying to keep from being pushed. Okay. Oh. Whoa. Okay, that's good. You can see the sun still coming up as the lighting changes. Down. There's a bit of wind, seems to be pushing me off to the left, but that's alright. The sound on this this model by Carenado is awesome. You can hear the plug-in actually handles the sound, and this is a 64-bit model, which is why that's working. And we've got birds off to the right. Birds, I hate birds. So, with that, I will just pull off, take this taxiway. I've got a rudder system, so I've got the differential braking, and I can steer with my feet quite nicely on the ground. Alright, so I'm just gonna pull off somewhere random. Okay. Now with Flight Simulator Economy, the only thing you need to do is set the parking brake, kill the engine, and you can see it pauses, and at this point it's stored my fuel quantity and the amount of time it took, worked out the rental prices, or, I mean, I own this plane so there's no rental price, but basically completes the job, also deducts the ground handling fees, etc. And if I jump into Flight Simulator Economy, you can see that it says your flight's logged, results can be found at the website, and these 5 people here have been delivered to this location, and those jobs are no longer in the market, so I can have a look at this airport, see what jobs are available, take off from here and continue on my travels. So hopefully that's interesting to you. XP10 64-bit with Flight Simulator Economy. Thanks for watching.